Welcome to the third episode of Interviews with Drew. If you're wondering why I'm laughing, it's because I did mess up. It's been a minute since I did Interviews with Drew, but I have a very, 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 very special guest today. My baby, the one and only Tadajah Coleman is with me.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for being here, baby. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Appreciate it. So, what do you have on your finger?
Wow, really? That's how you start?
No.
So,
No. That's not how we're starting. Thank you for coming. I know that sometimes it could be a little nerve-wracking doing a podcast or interviews and things like that. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I assure you that this will go smooth. And I was thinking about how to start, like, basically since I asked you to be on the podcast. And I always want to start where I met the guest. So we met on Halloween.
Yeah.
In 2019, of course, last year, and I looked terrible, but you looked amazing.
Bye, you did not look terrible.
And I was with Rob and Dom's cousin.
Like 12 other guys.
Well, they left.
Oh,
the
true.
other people left. Right. So, and you came with Suzanne, and that was the first time that we ever met. And so since then we hit it off, and here we are today.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on, babe.
Of course. I'm
but
super excited.
You only moved to New York recently.
Yeah.
Within the past, I would say like 6 months. Since August?
Yeah,
right?
6 months. Well, almost 7 now.
Almost 7 months. How's that experience been for you?
It's been bittersweet. Like when I first moved here, I don't know. I just had like a dream, and like when everybody moves to New York, they're kind of just like, oh yeah, like I have a dream and like I'm doing it and I'm going. And I had that ambition, and I was just like, whatever happens here, like it's all a part of the experience. So like I was willing to move and like migrate wherever I had to go, because I was like, I'm finally where I said I wanted to go. It was hard in the beginning because I like stayed so many places, as you know. Yes. We didn't know each other at that time, but I stayed so many places, and I was just having different experiences, at every place. But it was a blessed experience, because it was just like, it could have been so much worse, but God just came through. Like every single month I had a new place to stay, and like I was good. I had a job. Well, I still have a job, but like, it was great. It was an experience. I feel like telling people about that experience has been kind of just like, really, like, and you stayed. And I was just like, yeah, because like, I feel like I have a purpose here. So now, being in a more permanent situation, I feel like I kind of can like go back to what I moved here for, and like resurface my thinking and be like, this is what I moved here for. Like, these are the goals that I want to achieve before I leave and things like that. And now I can have like a stable mind. But New York is an experience regardless. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like you have your ups and downs like in New York. So, but it's been great. Like, it hasn't been like bad. I really don't have much like criticism to give New York as far as like the things that are not normal. It's normal for the subway to be packed. It's normal to see crazy people. It's normal to see like rats and stuff. Yes. It's normal to do, like, to see all that stuff. So I'm not going to be like, oh, like, I don't like this, I think that's all a part of the experience, which I'm grateful for, because if I didn't do it now, I wouldn't have done it. So
have you been to all 5 boroughs? Like, have you lived in all boroughs?
Really?
That's the real question. You said you moved to many different places.
No, I have not lived in any other borough. No, I've only lived in Manhattan.
Oh, you didn't live in Brooklyn? I thought so. You almost lived in Brooklyn.
No, I almost lived in Brooklyn. Well, I almost moved here in April. I ended up moving here in August, but I almost moved here in April, and I was going to live in Bed-Stuy. But other than that, no, I've always lived in Manhattan, Upper Manhattan.
But you were here in New York when you were younger, right? Not living here, but you just came to visit.
No, the first time I came here, I was supposed to come here to sing on Apollo. Yeah. But the first time I actually came here, I was a freshman in college at Clark Atlanta University. Yeah. So that was I was like 17, 18. That was the first time in New York. But.
And what was the main purpose of you wanting to come to New York? Like, when did you figure out that you wanted to be in New York, in the Big Apple?
I think the main purpose, I always wanted to be in New York. So it was New York and Paris, like New York and Paris, New York and Paris.
Which one is closer and cheaper?
I mean, like, literally, in, like, you know, presidential stuff.
Where they
I was
speak
like,
English.
I'm not trying to get caught, you know, and stay over there.
Yes.
I'm trying to come back. So, I figured out I wanted to, well, because I sing. So you know, you already know that, but I figured that I wanted to go to music school here. And that was, I would say, like, middle school. Like, I was like, I want to move to New York.
Did you want to go to Juilliard?
I did.
Okay.
And I got so close to applying, and then I kind of figured out that I didn't want to go to an all music college. Like, I wanted the regular college experience while studying music. So I did. Juilliard was my, like, number one school that I wanted to go to. But yeah, I would say I figured it out, like, pretty early on. I just didn't know when it would happen. That was the thing.
Yeah, true. That's the thing about, you know, planning for the future, especially at such a young age, like planning for the future and trying to see. Because I thought I was at 11, I was like, I'm gonna be a hockey player, like, for sure. Living in Canada, I was like, I'm definitely gonna go to the NHL, this and that. And then I came back here, and then slowly, like, I kind of moved away from that, and I was like, nah, I like this too, and this and that. And then I realized playing 82 games is not as easy as it seems, and, like, you know, just doing homework and stuff like that. So yeah, that was definitely hard.
Yeah.
Did your mom always did she give you, like, freedom to want to move to New York? Because a lot of parents, they're like, no, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. A lot of parents want you to follow in their footsteps too.
Yeah.
So how was that growing up?
I mean, it was great. Like, me and my mom are, like, best friends. So she gave me that freedom to just, you know, explore, like, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. She wanted me to play the saxophone, but I wanted to play the flute. So, like, I played the flute. You know, so it's things like that. She wants me to explore and kind of live my life to the fullest potential. And, like, we both have matching tattoos that say unapologetically free. So that's, like, kind of the goal in life for us to both, like, soar into that element, and whatever that means, that's kind of what she wants me to do. So it was easy. Like, I was just like, you know, I feel like I want to go there. And she's like, do it. You know, even with college, like, it was just like, do it. Like, have purpose, have meaning, but, like, go, like, do it. So it was easy. Like, she's my support system. So it's like, I can be like, hey, mom, like, I think I want to go to Germany for, like, a month. And she'll be like,
study abroad?
Yeah, like, and she'll be like, do it. So, no, it was so easy for her to, you know, support me. And, like, being the only child, I would expect for it to be hard, you know, for her to, like, let me go and, like, soar and stuff. But, nah, she's like, go. Like, and I'm going to enjoy watching you go, you know. And I've brought her to so many different places. DC, Atlanta, you know, New York. Like, she's just like, wow, like, I want to see your feet so many different places, and, like, I get to come and visit and things like that. So yeah, she's been great.
How's Chicago compared to New York? Because
oh my gosh, everybody asks this question.
No, because somebody might say that you could do the same thing with music in Chicago, because you have so many legends who are from Chicago doing music, and not only music, but, like, comedians like Dion Cole, and you know, it's another big city. It's not just, like, you know, a smaller state that people don't know about. It's a big market that a lot of people perform in, you know. So why did you want to, like, could you have done what you're doing now in Chicago, do you feel?
I feel like being born in Chicago, I kind of fulfilled my being there. And I the reason why I say that is because of the music question. So I went to performing arts high school, and I studied I studied classical voice. All from elementary school to now, you know, I was in choirs and things like that. So, like, I did all that there. And I did a lot of, like, professional music training in Chicago. And I feel like, yes, maybe I could have done what I want to do here, there, but like that is like my home base. So it's like that's where I got my like that's where I got grounded, and that's where I like all my training came from, and all the like hours spent, you know, studying music and all these languages and like stuff like that came from. So I feel like my mindset wasn't on like, oh, like I want to just be famous here. It was like I got my like fundamentals that I needed in Chicago. And then now I can like spread my wings because I've learned, you know, how to read music. I've learned how to read a chart. I've learned how to like do all the things that musicians do. And that was in Chicago. Like that's where it started.
Yes, exactly.
So, I could have did it there. Yeah. But I think that being, you know, that development stage and things like that, like it was in Chicago. So I was like, I don't really want to like stay here. I kind of want to just like go.
No, I feel you on that. Definitely, like, because I've moved so much, like I can't envision just staying in a place for that long. Like, you know, I have friends that have been in the same place for like 15, 20 years. I'm just like, that's not me. Like this is the longest I've been in New York. It's been here for 10 years. Since in 2010, that's when we moved. We came back from Canada.
Oh, really?
This is the longest it's the longest.
Oh, in 10 years? Yeah.
Because like when we moved here when I was 3, like we left when I was 8, so I was 5. Went to Canada, that was another 5, and then now I've been here for college and high school.
True.
So that's 10 years since this summer is going to be 10 years since we came back from Canada.
Wow.
So yeah. So what made you choose the flute? I want to go back to that a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't go to, you know, specifically a music school, but there were instruments, and so in elementary school is a recorder, fire. Hot Cross Buns is underrated. Don't ever play with Hot Cross. Wow. I'm gonna do a remix of Hot Cross Buns one day, and then just to show you, the recorder is fire.
Okay. We got the real talent though with the flute though. Yeah.
Anyway, and I played the trumpet, so come on.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And the guitar a little bit.
Ooh.
And the drums.
Oh, you nice.
And then my little sister, she started with the violin, which I was like, that's hard. And then she transitioned to the flute.
Yeah.
So what made you choose the flute?
It was pretty.
That's it? As simple as that? Okay. Next question.
No, it was like, it literally was pretty. I started flute in 4th, 5th grade. And I just loved seeing the girls go, because we would be in class, and then they would have private lessons. Yeah. So the girls that would play the flute would get pulled out of class for private lessons, and they came with these like. They came with the case, and I was like, what is in there? Like, this is so cute. I was like, I don't know what that is. And then one girl showed me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, and I'm like tiny with this long like stick thing, you know. So I was just like, oh, this is so pretty. And then I started private lessons. Well, I told my mom I wanted to play the flute, but she was like, the flute? Like, why not the sax? And I was just like, nah, like, the flute is it.
You don't want to be Kenny G?
No.
I mean, look, you Lizzo before Lizzo, so you out here playing the flute before Lizzo.
Well, not Lizzo.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, so I was just like, wow, yeah, I want to play the flute or whatever. And then I started, and she got me this beautiful flute, like gorgeous flute.
There's different types?
There's different types, but this one was the soloist flute.
Okay.
And it was gorgeous. I still have it. It was gorgeous. And I was just, no. I left it at home. And I remember going to the music store with my mom, and like, oh, I just felt so good. I was just like, yes, like I'm about to really learn like something, because that's not common in my family. Nobody like studied music. Nobody sings. Nobody plays instruments. Like
really?
Nobody. It's just me. So now, kind of after I've set that path, my cousins play like the clarinet and like percussion and things like that. So before me, it was like nobody. So it was interesting to like go down that path that nobody has been on. So yeah, I was excited. I was like, yes. And then I started to do lessons, and I was just like, no, this is not for me, because it was quite hard. But I ended up getting it, and I loved it, and I was first chair by 6th grade.
So did you play like concerts?
Yeah, and I was in the it was like a the advanced band. I got in the advanced band like my freshman year in high school, and like you have to audition for that and stuff. So like I was pretty good.
I got yourself up. It was kind of like that for me with the trumpet too, where I was originally doing the drums, but like I wanted to go off. Like I wanted to play like Nick Cannon and drum line. Like I wanted that, but it wasn't really like that. And then I saw one of my friends. He actually played the trumpet. He played for years, and he was like playing it really, really well. And the drum, it was kind of like you're just sitting there waiting for the right moment to hit it and stuff. But like I wanted to be active with playing an instrument.
Yeah.
And so I just asked to switch to the trumpet, and then there was I remember there was a song that we did in a concert, and then he did like the solo part because he was like really good at it. And so I wanted to do the parts. Like I would go home and like practice that specific part because it would go so high, and like you would have like your lips would hurt like because you have to keep your lips puckered.
Yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, but I did it. So like the day of the concert, I was like, do I do the regular part like everybody else would do that? And then I did it with him. So yeah, so I actually got it. But yeah, so that reminded me a little bit about that. Thank you. So how does playing music correlate with singing? Like what are the parallels and what are the differences? With reading music and stuff like that.
I mean, it's a direct parallel. Like in order to call yourself, I feel like a musician, like you kind of have to know all aspects of it, because you don't want to walk into a room and be like, I know how to sing, and like they're like, okay, like what key do you want me to be in? You know, you kind of have to know like your range and where you want to start, you know. And I want to get to a point where I'm like, excuse me, like you need to play it like this, you know. So yeah, it's a direct correlation. Like you have to know what you're talking about. You have to like know. And if you can't read music, it's okay, but like that's a skill that you need to know. I say if you want to. And like I'd studied jazz at Howard for 3.5 years. And I did not know one single thing about jazz music. Like, and that's directly like related to our like being, you know, as Black people, like jazz, you know, that's like us. Yes. But I felt so out of my element, and I was just like, what? You know, and I knew how to read music. I was classically trained. Like I knew all of this stuff, but like a chart, it was just so different. And
what was the difference with the chart? Like,
ooh, that's technical
because
stuff.
It has five bars.
Well, no, it didn't look different. It was just kind of like how it was written out. Like a chart is written totally different than a score. Okay. Yeah, so you would have to know melodically, like, you know, the counts and the rhythms, and the jazz is like not a straight like four bar, like it's like off beats and like it's just like what, you know, it's so confusing. I took jazz theory and I was just like, whoa. But knowing that, like having that behind me, I was just like, I need this. Like I want to study all aspects of music. You know, because I want to be able to walk into a room and say, like, no, I know what that is. You know, I know how I want to sing it because this chart says this. You know, it's in this key, and I want it to be transposed to this key. Like, you have to know what you're talking about, regardless. Yeah, definitely. So I say, like, studying and, like, things like that is essential. Even if you don't go to school for it. You know, YouTube University is, like, a thing. Yes. So.
Nah, one day that's going to be a real thing. You're going to pay for courses.
We should start that.
Don't take that idea.
Monies.
When you were like, you want to walk into a room and be like, no, play it like this. That reminded me, I played the piano. Well, I took piano lessons as a kid. No, I stopped that.
I took piano too.
Really?
Yeah.
Why'd you stop?
Well,
my sister stopped.
Well, in 5th grade, my teacher was supposed to teach me, but then he actually got fired. So,
okay.
Yeah, so
fluid it was.
From then on, I was just like, who's going to teach me piano? And in college, it was required. So I was just like struggling, and I have nails, and my teacher was like, cut those. And I was just like, no. So I'm like struggling, like playing like this. And, you know, reading a grand staff compared to reading just treble clef or just bass clef is different. So playing with both hands is like, whoo. So I was just like, I don't, I can't.
No,
but I definitely want to, because like, you know,
I would love, because you said you want a grand piano.
Yes, I want a grand piano. No, and I want to be able to play it. So
it's just there. Feel free. If you know how to play, feel free.
Yep.
But that goes back to what I say is one of the best things parents could give children is options. The option to choose whatever you like and whatever you want to do, and then later in life pursue that exact goal.
Yeah, definitely. And especially if it's different than what they've done. Because, you know, not a lot of parents are like, yeah, like, go, you can do this.
Yeah.
Especially if it's different. But having that support, you know, and that encouragement it's why I'm here today. Because, like, I would probably be home, like, I don't know what I would be doing.
True.
To be honest. But, like, I'm here today because, like, I had that encouragement and that drive in the back of my corner. And I was just like, wow, maybe I can really do whatever I put my mind to.
That's
and, like,
the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, and, like, the power of your words, like, people don't understand. Like, what you speak about is what you bring about. And I spoke New York. Like, when I say I was, like, maybe a sophomore, junior in college, and people were just like, yeah, what do you, like, want to do? And I'm just like, I'm moving to New York. Like, I said it like it just rolled off my tongue, like I had like money to just move, you know.
Like you're moving tomorrow.
Exactly. And I went home for a year after I graduated from Howard, and I was just like kind of discouraged, but I kept that language up, you know, as far as like I'm moving, like I'm doing this, like I'm packing. I physically packed before I moved. Like it was that serious.
Yes.
And I was just like, I have to do this. You know, this is something that I brought, you know, in my corner. The energy that I put out is like what I received. So if that little minute thing can happen, like, can you just imagine, like anything that you say, like you can do.
Yeah, just speak into existence.
Yeah, you have to do it.
One of the things that my dad said, I was a freshman in high school, and then we were listening to the radio, we were listening to NPR. And then somebody was talking about, you know, jobs and, you know, doing what you like and, like, you know, working hard still and stuff like that. And he was like, and then we were talking about it a little bit. Because in high school, that's when people really start to ask you, like, all right, so what do you think you want to do with your career and with your life and everything like that? And he was just like, as long as you love it, like, just go ahead and do it. Like, whatever you do, whatever you love to do, just do it. And then you won't, like, it's still going to be work, but you're going to enjoy it while you do it, so it won't feel like work. Like, if I could podcast forever, like, I would do that. Like, because it is work, like, editing and all that and planning and writing questions, if you have questions, and rundowns and things like that. But I enjoy doing this. Like, when I'm here, like, I feel like this is my calling. And it took a while to get that, because Iona didn't have a mass communications department or radio station that I could have joined in high school or anything like that. And we had like the newspaper, but at that point I hated writing because so like right now I write articles, but that's because it's in my voice and I'm writing it the way I want to, and I write in a conversational way, as you know. Very conversational, because you helped me write, like, draft an email to the person for a job, and it was just like I was talking to them like they my friend from 5 years.
You definitely were. I was like,
yo, what's up? I'm trying to get a job. Like, what's up? You're like, no, you
text me.
Yeah. Yo, hit me up, DM me, Instagram, Life of Drew. like yeah.
Shoot your shot. I was like, no.
So I wanted to ask, like, how was school instrumental in helping you get to where you are now? Because I say that for Iona, at least, the mass communications department, that was my home. Because, like, the overall feel of the school, like, it didn't feel like we were all connected. Like, there wasn't that much school spirit, in my opinion. But the mass communications department, it felt like it was, because that's where you went to record. That's where you went to get cameras if you wanted to do videos and skits that I showed you. Yeah. Where me and Rob looked terrible.
Shout out to Rob.
Shout out to Rob. So how was school instrumental in helping you figure your path?
Just college or like school period?
And high school, because I feel like if you did have a radio station or a newspaper in high school, and then you pursued that, you did it in college, then you did it, so it could help. So like if high school helped at all.
High school definitely helped. I had a great high school experience. My life, I feel like, has been on waves of differences, and that's just life, period. But like in high school, I went to a predominantly white high school.
Same.
And it was public though.
Private.
And I did not I did whatever I wanted to. Like I was in everything. Mm-hmm. I did everything in high school. I was in band.
Opposite of me.
I was in choir. I was in show choir. I was on an all white Palms dance team. They've never had a black girl on that team. I was the first to do it.
Ever in history.
Ever.
So you made history in high school.
I sure did.
There you go.
I was Miss LHS, Larkin High School. It was I was the missus of my high school, the first ever. I got so many like scholarships and things like that, like the first. I was in musicals and plays, and I was in band. Mm-hmm. What else did I do? I literally did everything. Like when I say from A to Z, like I did everything in high school, and I was just kind of like fearless. I think I'm an only child, so like
have to have that a little bit.
Yeah, but I was like able to do that because it's like, Mom, like you're not gonna be at somebody else's soccer game, like you're gonna be at mine. Mm-hmm. So I was just so fearless. I like did everything, and I think being in that environment that was not predominantly what I would have wanted, it made me kind of like stretch out and like go and do it, you know? So it gave me that drive before I went to college, instead of being like, oh, I'm just around like everybody normal, not normal like that, but like everybody like that's not really doing nothing, or like everybody's doing something and I'm just over here like in the corner. Like, no, I was like, I'm going and I'm doing like every single thing I could possibly do. I feel like there was more I did that I'm just forgetting. I got the Barack Obama like award
in Chicago.
Yeah,
there you go. Dang.
The presidential award I got, and I did pretty good in high school.
Were you class president too?
I was not. I didn't like anything
politics.
Like no.
Okay. Gotcha.
So that's the only thing I didn't do. But I pretty much did everything. I had super, super great grades. Like I was just great. I think that experience was like great for me. But that was what I was used to though. And I sang, I got qualified to like do all these different competitions for singing, and like won some of them, lost some of them, like I literally did everything. But I was used to having people on my side to say like, go Tadajah, like go. Yeah. And then I went to college and my whole world did a 360.
Before you go into college, where did you find the time for this? Because we talk about high school, because in college, like you said, you get to college and it's like you wake up and you're tired. You're like, no, I'm gonna go back to bed for your 8 a.m. You don't even go.
Oh,
sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I went all the time, but
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
There was one time I was driving to school and I was like, what? I don't think I was late for class, but I was just driving and then I was walking towards class and I saw my friend Jordan, and in my head I instantly knew, I was like, I'm not going to class. I was like, what's up, Jordan? What we doing today? Like, I was like, I'm just not going. But in high school, I think the one good thing about high school, if you did have a bad high school experience, is it's structured. So like you wake up at a certain time every day.
Yeah, definitely.
You do this, and this, and like you plan your day out. Because like a lot of times now, sometimes you might feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm wasting my day, but because it's not as structured as high school was.
Right.
But where did you find the time for?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't answer that question. Like I go back and I'm like, Mom, like for real, like I did all this. Like she has all my stuff on the wall, and I'm just like, how? Like I don't know. I just did it. Like I literally had the most fearless attitude in high school. Like I did it. I danced, I sang, I did everything. Like when I say everything, I used my talents to like their highest like peak in high school. So I don't even think I thought about time. I was just like, this is what I got to do. Like, I got to go to class, and then after class, school was over at like 3:30.
That's late.
I would be still at school till 7, 8. And then got to wake up at 7 something in the morning, or be in class at 7:40,
and then do homework and
then do homework and like study, and it was just like, it was just a thing for me, like it was normal, and I was just like, yep, sitting there like, yep.
Dang, no. The only thing I had was hockey. Like I would have to either go to practice right after school, or I'd have to wait till 7 or 8. For the game to start, and then get home at like 9, 10, 11. Yeah. So it was tough, but somehow we did it. Yeah. But college, go ahead.
Oh, college. College was an experience for me. It really brought me out of what I was used to in high school. I was used to everybody like, go, like you got it, College, like it was the cream of the crop, And I went to Clark Atlanta first, and excuse me, I went to Clark Atlanta first. I didn't like it too much. The Southern culture just wasn't my thing, and the school just kind of wasn't. But I loved HBCUs, and I was just like, yo, like I still like that was different for me because like I never grew up with like all black people, like a black school. Like I was just like, no, I never grew up with that. But going to Clark like really built my character and like brought me out of my shell around my own people. But I did experience some hard things in college. In my freshman year, I started to see like, just for example, like in going to Clark, I know so many people now that are famous that I went to school with. And like it was so many people just doing stuff. Everybody was doing something. In high school, it was Tadajah. Like Tadajah was doing something. Tadajah was doing it. So it was like, like okay.
Who's gonna fix this? Tadajah got it.
Me, I got it. Oh, Tadajah, can you do this? Nope. Tadajah, can you do that? Yep, I can. Like, and in college, I was just like, but she can do it. Like he can do it. Like and it was like a group of us. Like wherever I go, I kind of migrate because the energy that you put out, you migrate towards or whatever. But it was a group of us that like did stuff. We sang, we danced, we whatever. And I just started to kind of feel like, dang, like I didn't realize that y'all could do that too, it was kind of like I like literally called my mom crying because I was just like, Mom, like
you didn't tell me
I didn't. I told you I was going to tell you my college experience. Like
no. I mean, like you called it. Like you didn't tell me it was like this.
Yeah, but I didn't tell you this either. But yes, I called her and I was just like, I don't think I can do this. Like I don't think singing is for me because she does that and he does that and like they're getting chosen for this and I would still get my accolades. Like I would still do certain stuff. I would still get picked for things, but it was nothing like high school. My freshman year. So I decided that I wanted to stop studying classical. Clark actually was going to build a jazz voice program just for me to stay. And I was like, no. Because I wanted to go somewhere established. And I did not want to stay in Atlanta. No shade to Atlanta. But I didn't want to stay there. Like I wanted to be in New York. Like that was it. So but I wanted to go to a HBCU. Yeah. So it was either FAM is not in New York, it's in Florida. But I was like,
we don't got those.
They have a jazz program because I wanted to study jazz voice. And I was just like, FAM or Howard. I got into Howard. I literally submitted my application the last day in the last hour.
Wow.
And like before I pressed enter, I was like, this will not go in vain. Enter. And then I got this huge packet in the mail and it was like, welcome. And then I had to audition for Howard as well as Clark. And I made it. I got in. And I was like, whoa, like Howard was like never like a thing for me. I don't even think I paid attention to Howard, to be honest. Like I was just like, oh, like what's that? Oh, that's a black school. Like cool. Like
no, it's the
black school. But I didn't realize that. So I went to Howard like knowing that I wanted to study jazz, and I was just like, wow, I'm going to be like a great, like all around musician, like who can do this, and that, And then I went to Howard and it got worse. because I was around the people who like knew what they were doing, were bomb at it, and like grew up with that sound in their like innate being, that it was so like normal for them to like just scat or just do any, like just sing, period, and like make it sound good, like run and do all that stuff. And I was just like, I don't know how to do all that. So I struggled so much. I changed my major within the music department a couple of times. My teachers weren't really like there for me. Like it was just, it was a lot of struggle that I went through, like studying music at Howard. It was crazy. It was a great experience. I wouldn't take it back, but it was not what I was used to. It literally brought me out of my element, and it made me turn into like a shell. Like it just made me like revert, like ball up, and all that energy that I had in high school. I no longer had that. And you know, it's sad to say, but like I like stopped singing for real. You know, I was in Howard Gospel Choir for like a year and a half, and that's kind of like the only performing that I did. Studying jazz, we had to sing in front of, you know, a lot of people and stuff. So I did those performances, but I still didn't feel good. Like I was just like, this is not for me. Like this is honestly just not for me. And my third year, my teachers were like, yeah, like you're struggling. And it was like a lot of us that were struggling. So thank God I wasn't the only one, but it was hard to come to terms with something that I've thought that was for me so long. And to have people tell me like, no. I never had that happen. So I was just like, whoa, you know, like, is this for me? Anyway, so a lot of stuff happened in the program and things, and I decided, instead of dropping out, because that was on the list of things to do next, I would study something. This is about to sound bad, but like I would study something that would help me graduate on time.
No, not at all. It didn't sound bad at all.
And also something that I previously said that I wanted to do. So I was just like, okay, either psychology or sociology. And
I did psychology as well. But that going back to what you said about choosing something that'll help you graduate, I was undecided at first. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. In high school, I took psychology courses, and I love psychology. I like knowing the way people think, and the show Mindhunters. That's basically like the form of like modern day like psychoanalysis about serial killers and things like they coined the term serial killers, and it's a great show about just like getting into the minds of people. And so I was like, oh, let me just do that. Let me study psychology. I got to statistics. And you know I'm bad with math. And I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm switching. But at the same time, I was taking mass comm classes because I needed one more class. And then I was in my friend's room, one of my friends. And then him and his girlfriend were like, oh, just take mass comm, just join our class, blah, blah, blah. And then thank God I had Miss Cosby, who me and Dom and Matt, we all had Miss Cosby. And she's like a great teacher. And so I liked it. Then I took more and more and more. At one point, I took more mass comm classes than psychology classes.
Yeah, I remember you saying
that. I was just like, after statistics, I was like, I don't think I'm going to go back. And so I switched to mass comm. But I liked it. I liked what I was doing. And so I was like, thank God I at least did this instead of something else. But no, I definitely feel that. And like a lot of people, like the way you felt about, you know, it's the top of the top that are in college. It's the same thing with sports. Like, I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to go to the NHL because I'd be playing in Canada. I'd still be there. I'd still like be on a sponsored team and get flown to this province and this place and this city to play games. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, I don't think so. And so I strayed further and further back from it. And I was just like trying to figure out what I like and what I wanted to do. So, because a lot of athletes have that too. Where in high school they're the man, in middle school they were the man, they play with their friends, and then they get to college and it's like nah. You're not starting. They're like, I started my whole life. It's like, no, you're sitting on the bench. And
definitely.
So I feel like so many people who go to college go through that. So you're definitely not alone with that.
Yeah, I think aspect. In my last year, like before I went to college, I wanted to be a juvenile attorney for some reason. I just love like that giving back aspect and like all of that.
Juvenile the rapper.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
No.
That's different.
Juvenile attorney, love. Juvenile attorney. But yeah, so I wanted to do that. So I was just like, like, how could I take sociology and actually make something of it? I had no love for sociology at all.
I was like, you gonna sing to the judge or something?
When I got to my senior year, I was just like, I am doing whatever I had to do to get out of here. And that was what I had to do. So, but it was a blessing in disguise because I started my business in 2016. That was my second year at Howard. And I started it just as a fashion blog. Like, it was just me, like, because I love to take pictures. And I was just like, it can go on somewhere. And I can, like, talk about my outfit, you know. And I was just like, just post it or whatever. So it started as that. And it was just like, like, it was something fun to do. I did little dorm looks and, like, things like that. And it was fun to just dress up. And then I started to notice the fashion at Howard specifically was like out of this world. And I was just like, yo, like, these people like dress, you know? And I was like, wow, like, what can I build to showcase this kind of like unified aspect of fashion at a black school? I'm gonna start a magazine. And like, at first it wasn't a magazine, it was just still a blog. But it like just, it was like the snowball effect. Like, it was like building and building. I started to meet like these designers and photographers, and like I was also a missus on my campus. So I was in the residential hall court or whatever. So I was a queen on campus for a year. So that having that title kind of exposed me to new people. So we would have to go to events and things and like wear our crowns and sashes, and then I would be like networking after that. So finding out that there were so many models and just people that were in the fashion industry or that wanted to be in the fashion industry, I just wanted to connect with them because I was like, there's no other like way we might not ever meet up in life again, you know, and you're like an essential hub of everybody creative. So I was like, let me build this. And I did it 2016, and I literally like, it took off. Like, I was in, I did DC Fashion Week for a couple of years. I like teamed up with so many people, and it was just crazy how that happened. All while I was going through this whole music, is music for me? And like that transition, it was hard, but I was given this business and it kind of like blew up. You know, I didn't expect it to at all. I didn't expect it to go anywhere, but I was just kind of doing it for the love of it and for the love of that. And I felt like I was being denied in one place. So like this place was like a safe spot for me. So yeah, so I did that. I'm still doing it currently. But it just was like, wow, like this can actually turn into a business. So yeah, it was great. I did that. I just went off on a tangent. I don't even know where I went.
No, you good. No, and entrepreneurship is very, very, very big for our generation because of social media, and you could reach out to people so easily. Like before, you had to be at the event and find the way in and meet them. So it was just like a hassle to get to wherever you wanted to get to. But now it's way easier with just, you know, DMing people, like emailing them in a formal way. So yeah, so that makes sense to me. Like starting, like the damn podcast started at Iona. It just started in a basement of Iona. Bought a mixer, bought microphones, bought cords, plugged it up to the laptop, and then boom, we went. And going from that to here in Harlem, like I never, like Dom keeps saying, I never thought that I'd be in Harlem working with a person who works with Sway in the Morning, one of the top personalities in hip hop or just in music in general. You know, working with MTV, Sirius, and all these doing side projects and interviews, and being from Oakland, coming to New York. Like, I never in my wildest dreams thought that starting the podcast could lead to this, and then meeting, you know, Nico Brim, who knows this, but and like it's and like we know it's a small world. where it's like every single day, or not every day, but you meet somebody from Howard often, just on your day out. Like, oh, she went to Howard, he went to Howard. Like, so it's definitely a small world, you know. And being an entrepreneur in this world is much easier than it was before when Gary Vee was doing it back then.
Yeah, definitely.
So
very true.
How did you? I have two questions. One, how did you come up with the name for your business? Because we're still struggling for the podcast because we don't know if we want to change it or not.
Right.
And while you were going through all this music stuff, like, were you doing anything to like cope, like, because college and school does bring like stress and anxiety. So did you do anything to like relieve that, or was this your release?
Ooh, that's a deep question. I like that question. Okay, so to answer the first question, I don't think we really went into what I do and like what I have. So I have a digital luxury fashion magazine, and it's called Vogue à la mode, but it's short for the acronym is Valm, so VALM. And yeah, it's a luxury fashion magazine, digital, and it's dope. So how did I pick that name? So, okay, I was at home for Christmas, I believe, or like Thanksgiving, one of those holidays. And I was like, yeah, I have all these ideas, like all these pictures, like how am I going to do this? Now, mind you, it was a blog. It wasn't a magazine at this time. Yes. So, I like have a passion for anything French.
Yes,
I know you know. Like anything French, like, just gets me so excited. Like, I still want to move to Paris, you know, things like that. Especially the language. And I didn't study French. Like, I studied French in college, but like later college. I just always loved the culture and just like just everything. It just seems so like luxurious. So I was like, what can I look up that means fashion? And like, what French words can I look up? So I found Vogue. Vogue means fashion. And a la mode is dessert, but it's also fashion. So like, I was like, like, dessert? Fashion dessert? Like, but then I was like, what if I put it all together? Like, not Vogue, like the magazine, but like, when you think Vogue, you're like, ooh, like Vogue the magazine. But then you're like, wait, like, you got to be something if your name is like Vogue.
Of course.
Like, you, come on now.
Of course.
Like, all right. So Vogue a la mode, like, it was just like a flow.
It flows.
Like, it's just
when
like
I first saw it, I was like, that actually really flows.
It's like silk, you know? And I was just like, Mom, like, me and her always like clash, and not clash like that, but like we go together on details and things, especially like business names and stuff like that. So she was like, I love it. But then a couple years after I created Vogue à la mode, I started to think of like an acronym. I was like, I need to like shorten this just a little bit, and to create something that will be kind of lifelong. And I was like, the acronym, like VALM, Valm. And my friend was like, your slogan needs to be like, it's the bomb. Valm is the bomb. But yeah, so that's how I created that, and it stuck. And I got so much positive feedback from that. They were just like, whoa, like, I love Lamb. I was like, oh no, it's not Lamb, it's Valm. But you know, everybody in college was like, yes, like, I love this. Like, yo, your cover fire. Like, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was just getting so much. And then, you know, this was kind of like, what's the word? It was just like great for me because I was receiving backlash in like the music world at school. But then I got so much positive feedback from like the fashion stuff, like the fashion tip. I never studied fashion a day in my life. Like, never. My mom bought me a sewing machine and I think I used it twice. So like when I was younger, yeah. I just loved to like dress up and stuff like that. I was always a girly girl, but I never like wanted to study fashion. I was like, fashion, like, nah, but I'm good. I'm a singer. But I was receiving so much backlash, and then I got like so much positivity in this aspect, and I was like, yo, like, I can actually like do something with this, you know, and like pull it off. So I was just like, let me do it. But to answer your second question, yes, college was very stressful. It was, that's the first time I like went through like a depression type of spell. And I was just like, what is this? Because I've never had to deal with,
a lot of us, yeah.
Yeah, I never had to deal with any of that, thank God. But like, I would say, like I just said, I didn't really deal with, I keep stuff inside, which is terrible, but I didn't really like go to anything like substance or like anything like that to like bypass the stress. I just was like, this is my creative outlet. Like that, makeup, nails, hair. I did hair in school. I did makeup in school. Like, so I just did like creative stuff, you know, to kind of block that. And this was one of them. It was like a creative venture turned into like a business.
No, definitely. Because that, like, going back to what I said about podcasting, like, coming back here and doing this, like, whatever class I had during the day or whatever test I didn't do well on, whatever went wrong, when I did the podcast, like, we do it once a week. Whenever I was there, like, I felt good. I felt happy. Like, I was laughing. And then as soon as it's done, I'm like, all right, back to whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
And, like, I realized that, and I was like, no, I'm really happy, like, doing this. So, and then, that's why I had like 2 radio shows. Like that's when Rob and I started doing our podcast. So I had 3 podcasts.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
2 radio shows on top of that, and being vice president. Like I was always in the radio station. Like that was, well, one, because it was quiet and you could do your homework, you could listen to music because we had the speakers in there. So it was like a quiet little area that you could be in just to relax. It was already like good.
Right.
Because there was like the glass. If you're walking in the hallway, you could see like the radio station, but then there's a room behind it. That's like kind of like where we sat, where the people in the executive board sat.
Yeah.
And
executive
so that's where we
board.
were.
Oh.
Oh my God! Yes, the one club I joined ever in my life. Yeah. You know? And then we actually had an office, which was a little bit behind that. So that was all in there, and then that was like where I would go to like relax and chill and, you know, do homework and things like that. So I completely understand that.
Yeah.
When you were collaborating with people, because Howard is so competitive, like you've mentioned before, did you receive like hate, or because you talked about a lot of support, but what support comes with
absolutely negativity? Yes, I did, but like minimally. Okay. A lot of people were so encouraging to the point where I was just like, whoa, like maybe y'all see something I don't see, because like, you know, like often. Maybe I could like actually keep doing this. So I will say one specific time, it was what was it? It was some fashion show. Like we always have a fashion show every single year, but we have like multiple fashion shows. And one of my good friends created elite models at Howard, and it's huge now. And he created it, and I was like, we were friends. Like he was just like, yo, you're on this fashion thing. Like I'm kind of on the fashion thing too, and like just evolved. So it was his show, and I got like a press. I was always press at Howard, so I got like a press first row type of thing.
Okay.
And it was spur of the moment. I didn't know I was even going to that show, but I was just like, I need to like get out here and like interview or like do like take pictures, and we'll do whatever I have to do. So one of my friends came with me. We're sitting in the front row, and I'm like recording, and I'm like doing just writing, and I'm just like going, right? And I see this guy like parallel from me, like diagonally over here, just like staring, right? And I was just like, who is this man like looking at me, right? I was like, who is he? So the show is over. We all are hanging in the lobby. It's a huge show. It's in Crampton Auditorium, so it's huge. But it was like a few of us that were pressed that were like talking and stuff like that. So he comes up to me, and I was just like this is this guy, like he about to try to talk to me or something. No, like he came up to me and he was like, I think you look familiar. And I was like, I don't think so. Like, do you go to Howard? And he was like, no, I go to, he went to some other HBCU. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what do you do? He was like, I have a magazine. I was just like, really? Oh, cool. Like, what's it called? And he said, it was like a campus magazine. It was huge. I don't remember the name like that. But It was strictly for HBCU, like, fashion stuff. And it was a big magazine. Like, it was huge. I was like, whoa, that's you? Like, you created that? And he was like, yeah. And he said, what do you do? And I was like, oh, like, I have this magazine. Like, it just started, you know. And I'm, like, pitching myself to him because I'm like, let's work together. I literally could not even utter Vogue a la mode out of my mouth before he said it. He said it to me. He said, oh, Vogue a la mode. He was like, I know you. Like, I literally know who you are. And I was like, me? Like, are you kidding? Like, you know what I do? And that was insane. So I was like, wow, like, I'm shocked. Like, you know who I am and stuff. And he was just like, yeah. He was like, and I was like, yo, we should, like, you know, collab. We should follow each other, stuff like that. He said, no. I was like, why? He said, I don't follow my competition. I was like, whoa, like, really?
Yeah.
So you see me as competition. Yeah. So it was like hate, but it was like good hate. Because I was like, yeah, like, if you see me as competition, like, yo, like, I'm lit. Like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. You know, I'm aligning with my second purpose in life. And that to me was great. That was like the greatest. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, you never believe what just happened. Somebody told me they don't want to follow me.
You don't like me. Like, oh my God.
I was like, what? That's she crazy. Was like, oh, for real? I was like, yeah, like, this is great, you know? So of course I did receive like other backlash, people that I worked with, I would never work with again, you know, that just happens. And that's how I like started building contracts and things like that to kind of tell people like, nah, this is serious for me, you know? So yeah, but most of it was very encouraging. It was very professional. I met the guy who founded DC Fashion Week, and he was like, come out as press. Boom. More press. Like, but that was, more press. So I got like so much exposure that I never would have thought. Like, I was like, it's not really for Howard. It wasn't really for like Black people. It was just founded as like, that was a unit, you know, that brought it together. But I always said within this business, I wanted to go global. So for me, it was extending like my hand out from Howard. It was like DC. Now it's, you know, New York. So it's like I have to expand myself throughout just that like unit. So yeah.
And you mentioned like a couple months ago that you had an issue with like copyright with somebody as well. Oh, taking your name. Because that's something that
I did.
That I want. That's really important, especially now. And like, I want to copyright everything that I have and all the ideas that I have before somebody, you know, steals it and takes it. Now it's theirs.
So like, actually, this blogger, her name is Vogue a la mode as well, but she's a single, you know, individual brand, and she lives in like London or something. She doesn't even live in America, and I didn't realize that Vogue a la mode was such a popular name. I just kind of loved it and I just went with it. So once I created the name, I created my Instagram. Like it was like clockwork, like boom, Insta, like now. So I created my Instagram at Vogue a la mode. Follow me, it's still Vogue a la mode. So I created at Vogue a la mode. And then I went to Twitter to create at Vogue a la mode. It was taken. I was like, who has my business name? Like, are you kidding me? So I did _Vogue a la mode. I typed in Vogue a la mode to see who it was. And it was this girl, this blogger. I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, it's no, like, no shade to me. Like, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, you do you, I'll do me. And last year, actually 2018, on Instagram, we weren't even following each other. We just kind of like knew about each other, I guess, because hers is like, I don't know what it is, but it's Vogue a la mode in it too. She DM'd me. Now, mind you, this girl has a large following, like a huge following. She DMs me and she was like, hi, what will it take for me to get your name, to have your handle? And I was like, huh? Like, what? I created this business like 2016. Like it's 2018 now. Nothing. Like you can't have my handle.
Yeah.
And she said, like, I'll do anything pretty much like for your handle. And that's kind of where I figured out like I have to create something else. So it was like Valm. It's like, yes, I'm Vogue a la mode, but like Valm is like the bigger name. So I thought about it. I talked it over with my mom for a while, and I was just like, I'm not giving it to you.
Good.
You know, like,
Good. Yeah.
and I could have, you know, I could have did at Valm, like instead, but I was just like, no, like it was founded off of that. And yeah, so she was mad.
Of course.
And like, you know, do whatever she had to do, but I was just like, no, like this is my thing. And like we had two different entities. Like she was a blogger and I was, you know, I do fashion but a magazine aspect, and it's going into like a clothing brand. So it's like it's a whole brand.
Yes.
It's a whole company. So yeah, I was like, I'm not giving it to her, so I didn't. But just to see somebody that had such a huge following yet again coming for me, it was like, wow, like small but mighty, like, you know. So yeah.
No, that's definitely great to keep your intellectual property. Like that's gonna be something that we're gonna have to go through. And even with music, if you go the music route, it's the same thing. You have to clear samples and all that, and if you don't pay, like rest in peace Juice WRLD, but he had that he sampled Sting, and then he was sued for like $1 million or something like that. So
gosh, I can never imagine.
Yeah, no. So you don't want that. So everybody out there, make sure that you own whatever you have, and and
yes,
so that it's yours and you have no troubles in the future. Speaking of future, where do you see your brand going? Because you said global.
Oh yeah, it has to be global. Because
you've done photo shoots with, you know, multiple outfits. It's not just high end. Like you had a Jordan jersey, you had an African garments on. Like you've done multiple things. So where do you see yourself going in the future with it?
So I'm in grad school right now. You know, studying marketing. So that has brought me to know more of a business aspect, because whatever I do, I always have to study. Like, whatever I do, I'm not just going to go into it blindly. So I said, yes, music is still my passion, but while I'm on this fashion tip, I need to know what I'm talking about. You know, I need to be able to walk into a room and know what I'm talking about. So that's what made me go to grad school and study marketing. And I figured out that, I was like, I want to have a boutique in Paris. Vogue a la mode, like what else? You know, I was like, I want to have a boutique in Paris, but like it's not just saying, oh, I just want to go to Paris and start like have a boutique. It's like, no, you have to tap into like that market, you know, not even just like abroad. It's like the luxury market is very, very, very competitive. It's very
tightly knit, and there's very few, and
all of that, and it's not very inclusive. So
true.
You know, you have to kind of know from a business aspect how to tap into a global market. So I studied like Nike and Apple and like things like that, businesses like that were founded, Google, not just on fashion, but like just they were able to successfully tap into a global market. So that is my goal. I want to have boutiques in you like that? I was like get ready.
Pulls out a list like, all right,
right, and
want like a long scroll or the number one,
literally.
Right.
So like in major cities in the United States, but also Paris, Milan, Spain, you know, places like that. I just really want to just be like known in those areas, and I want to be as exclusive as Hermes, because you can't go into an Hermes store and walk out with a handbag. It's like Tesla. Like you have to build it. You know, you have to build your bag. This $30,000 to $100,000 bag you are building, and you know how many months it's going to take you to get that bag?
$100,000.
Yes, it'll take you probably. You know, for the more exclusive ones, it takes over a year to get that bag. That's how like exclusive I want my brand to be. So, yes. It's a luxury.
I'm trying to be like Amazon. Like, here's a podcast. Here's a podcast. Like, I'm trying to be Jeff Bezos.
But yeah, so in order to like do that, my favorite brand is Valm, but they were founded in France, so you know.
For all English listeners, Balmain. I had to.
Please no. Please no.
Nah, because they gonna be ball. Who she said LeBron? She said LeBron. Like
LeBron. Balmain. So Balmain, yeah. That's my favorite brand just because of their creative focus. Oliver Roosting is the creative director, and he actually is a man of color. Shout out. Go. Yep. And he literally got out of high school and like started working with all these top designers and like and basically they gave him the creative focus job. So he's the creative director and has been for like a long time. So
I'm keeping this job.
Yeah, so like people like him, Virgil Abloh, yes. Like people like that I really look up to because they know how to tap into that like even luxury
Kanye,
market
to a certain extent with his brand. Yeah. Like Yeezys, like I don't like everything, right. But Yeezys, like he tapped into a market with that.
And actually Virgil was the creative director for Kanye. Like he worked close hand with him before becoming the men's wear. What is he? The men's wear. What is he, babe?
I don't know what he is.
He's the men's wear
creative director, manager.
Yeah, like creative director of Louis Vuitton now.
Yes, I heard that.
So, working with Kanye and things like that, it was like wow. And he studied architecture. He's from Chicago, so shout out. He studied. I don't know if he's from Chicago or he went to school in Chicago. I don't know. But anyway, Chicago's in there. So he he studied architecture, and he was able to create Off-White off of the construction aspect.
So Off-White was built after a building?
Literally.
That's crazy.
Something like that is so like bomb to me because I'm just like, wow, like what you used to get where you at. Like he studied architecture. Now he's in fashion, like high fashion. You know, I studied music and I studied sociology, but to get into grad school, they wanted me to connect sociology to fashion. Like, how do you do that? The study of humans, like the study of what humans want and how we think and how we feel and like what we attract to and what we like go towards.
Even stores, like the way they lay out their clothing. And,
literally.
Yeah, that's why
all of that.
That's why I love Uniqlo because it's so neat and proper and like reds go here, blues here, this is here. That's why like Marshalls gives people anxiety because everything is on. Like,
not your Marshalls, but
no, not my Marshalls. The Marshalls in Pelham, that's like the cleanest Marshalls you will ever find. But when we went to it started with a B, the store that's closing. Barney's. Yeah, we went to Barney's and everything was everywhere. I don't know how Courtney saw that shoe. Shout out to Courtney. She was because she was walking this way and the shoe was over here. I don't know what kind of eye she has, but she just turns like it's there. And
when you see it.
Pounced on that shoe. I was like,
not
damn.
Pounced.
No, because there was another lady I think trying to get the same shoe or something like that.
Yeah.
But even just the layout of the stores and how you enter and how they do their thing, like down to that, like it taps into our psyche and how we perceive it and what makes us want to walk into the store, different colors and like we talked about, just even learning your undertone and like what works with you and so that's like learning more about fashion, because I was never really into fashion like that. I was just like, this looks nice, let me wear this, and this looks nice, let me wear this, and like a lot of stuff that my mom made me wear back in the day, I was like, no, now I'm wearing it. I think I just needed to grow into it. I was just like, just give me some jeans, shoes, and let me go play. Like I didn't even care. Like just let me go. Like I wanted to look nice, but I still just wanted to play and like have fun and things like that.
Yeah.
One of our guests on the damn podcast that we had, his name is Andrew as well. He's starting a he does like 3D printing. He's like an inventor as well. So he creates things and pieces like chess pieces and stuff like that. But he wanted to integrate technology into fashion. Are you like hip to that or?
I am hip to that. I actually, so the world is moving in a more digital platform in like a way. So the battle for me was, do I go print or do I stay digital? Because the print world is like actually ending.
Yeah.
In the near future. Because nobody walks around with magazines in it, like
it's only
newspapers.
the doctor's office.
Yeah, like if you go on the subway, people, like everybody is like this. Nobody is like reading a newspaper. So that was kind of my aspect. I was like, whoa, like, do I stay digital or like do I go print? So I'm kind of still like, that's a toss up. But my thing that I'm actually tapping into is sustainable fashion.
Yes.
So I'm already vegetarian, as you know, but sustainability is something that a lot of people kind of are grasping towards and learning more about. And the fashion industry is one of the leading causes of global like pollution and like greenhouse gases and like gas emissions and stuff like that. So and it's just based off all the water that we use when we make clothes. Like that's it.
That and throwing them away and like
so like things like you know, companies that recycle and consignment and stuff like that, it's kind of the way of the world now, you know, and plus the economy has something to do with it too, but that's a whole nother topic. But you know, it's the way of the world. So for me, technology, sustainability, you know, that digital aspect is like where fashion is going. And people want to see that, you know, people want to see like something that's biodegradable, you know, instead of like this bag that's like
or jeans just denim like I don't know exactly how long it takes to disintegrate, but it just takes mad long, and this is gonna stay there, and like you said, it's not good for the earth and things like that. So it's good that people are starting to be more conscious, you know, just all across the board in general, but especially with fashion, because we watched the show, I forget, Next in Fashion, and then one of the guys, he did his piece, he used other people's fabrics and then he added it to his piece, and I was like, oh, it's dope. And everybody else was kind of like, what are you doing? But he made it work, and he made it all the way to the finals with that. He did. So that was dope. And I'm just waiting for the shirt with a GIF on it. It'd be like
what?
with a GIF, fashion tech fashion, whatever, however you call it.
With a gift on it.
With a GIF, like the moving image, a GIF.
Oh.
Yeah, with that. Not with a gift on it, with a present like here.
What are you talking about?
With a gift.
Oh.
So like you could have Spice Adams on the
Oh God! Shout out to Rob. Anyway.
No, like that'd be dope. Like whatever moving image you want, but like actually, it'd be on your shirt.
That's already out though.
Somebody made that.
It's not a gift, but I went to New York Fashion Week like when I first moved here. And it was this line, I can't remember the designer's name, but she basically had all digital stuff on her fashion. Wow. Like she had a skirt that was like a TV. It was weird, but it was like, it was a skirt, but it was like,
because now
you could see, you know, and on her shirt it was like
more TVs,
like, you know. So that
because we have like flexible TVs now, like ones that you could roll up and everything like that. So all right, we're already there then. We're there. Well, thank you, baby, for coming on this podcast and talking about your business. Thank you for having me. Of course. Now I have some fun questions for you.
Oh gosh.
No. Also, Virgil is from Illinois, so.
Ooh, shout out.
Shout out to Virgil.
Shout out.
So I have some fun questions for you. Like I said, one. If you could work with 3 designers.
This question.
3 designers, who would you choose? Or 3 brands.
Okay, brands.
3 brands.
Because designers, a lot. Brands, Valm.
Balmy.
Who else would I say? I would say Louis. Because do I have to give you a reason?
Yeah, you give me.
Okay, so Balmain, because like I said, it's my that's my creative direction, like that whole entire brand. Louis Vuitton, because it's so classic, and I've done so many like marketing reports on it, and I'm just like stunned at how they thought about this stuff before like this was a thing, you know, and how they tapped into the American market, which is hard from, you know, global standpoint. And they were successful, and like people love Louis Vuitton. So like, what?
Yes.
And they have 2 designs. Well, you know, they literally have two designs. It's one monogram and the other one is like the checkered pattern, which is Damier Ben. And that's it. You know, and like everybody like paying over $2,000, $1,500 for these bags. Yeah. So I want to be like that. So that Chanel, because not only is it Parisian, but like the whole brand is so iconic in the way of like class and simplicity. And doesn't have to do too much. Like Chanel is like so classy just by like this pleated bag, like the boy bag or like the classic flap. Like, I mean, like what? You know, there's so many duplicates of Chanel, but it's like the same concept, but it's just that emblem that makes it worth like thousands of dollars. And then you get the tweed suit that's so iconic, but it's so simple and it's so chic. So like, I want to be like that.
Got you. So if you could choose, so have you looked at the $100,000 bags?
Of course.
If by Hermes?
Yes. That you're gonna get me? Of course.
$100,000 for a bag though. Start with 30. Start easy at 30.
Okay. That works. We can build it up.
No, but if you create the $100,000 bag, then
I'm
good. Nah, then I'm good. Then what I got?
I want an assortment.
Wow, so you want me to shop at the competition? That's what you're saying. See, I got my way out of it.
You know what?
No. Which streetwear brand would you work with?
Oh, Off-White. Off-Rip. Off-White. Okay.
All right, shout out to Virgil.
Shout out to Virgil.
That was easy.
That was like mad easy. That's my favorite streetwear brand.
Is it just the shoes or is
no?
Okay, because I'm not
the belts.
I've never
the
seen
Off-White belt.
Never seen the belts.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't.
Yes, you have. Do you remember the shoot that I did with the camouflage?
Yes.
And then I had that belt.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Off-White belt. Seen it. Streetwear, Virgil has that like in the bag. Like he knows how to gravitate to that market, which is like a younger market. But I watched an interview with him. I think it was like a TED Talk or like I don't know. It was an interview, and he said he was gravitating towards a youth, like of men, basically. And that when you think of streetwear, that's what you kind of think of.
Yeah.
But he did it in such a way where it was like he actually Off-White. He didn't start Off-White at first. He had another company before Off-White. But he kind of just knew how to do it, like I said, in a simple way. Like it's simple, it's simplistic, but it's like dope, you know. And like everybody wants to rock Off-White, like just because it looks like the construction aspect, and like it just brings so much in mind. Like you think of New York, you think of Chicago, you think of like different things. So like just to have all of that in the back of this like simple like brand logo. He has some boots that say these boots were made for walking on the side. A hit. He has a bag that says sculpture on it. That's it. It literally says sculpture in parentheses. And like that bag is like a lot.
No, I know. And then the shoes literally like they say Off-White. Like that's that's like the trend now to like tag something on.
Yeah, it's like a tag. It's like a tag, and you know that's Off-White because like what else is in parentheses?
True.
Off-White.
Very simple, but that's that's like my stuff. Like I like to be simple, but like I want it to look nice and presentable.
I know what you do all the time.
Thank you. What was I gonna say? Oh, shout out to West Side Gun because he told.
Who's that?
You know who? You know exactly who it is. She said, "Oh,
I'm not from New York, y'all."
Because he said, "Tell Virgil write brick on my brick."
Period.
And then
like,
he wrote brick on his brick. Like he literally wrote it. Like so again.
Do you know that that's like genius? The marketing behind that.
Write brick on my brick.
Yo,
you gotta get behind West Side Gun. See.
Well,
See?
not West Side. This is more towards Virgil.
Yeah, but West Side said to write brick on my brick.
Okay, what's the next question?
What's the next question? Which country do you think, this might be hard, but which country do you think has the best fashion sense?
Oh, Japan.
Japan? Why so? Why is that? You like the kimonos out there? I wasn't expecting that. I was going to be like, Spain.
Wait, I think I meant to say China.
Oh. Wait, China? China does high fashion too?
Yes. edit this out.
I'll edit this. All right. So
Japan.
Because I was like, what? Don't worry.
You like the kimonos?
It's like, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Wait, what's the other place that's like Times Square, but like...
That's Japan.
I was right.
No, but that's a serious question about
Japan.
Yeah.
Yo. Okay.
Like Tokyo.
Let's start. Like Japan, because...
Because kimonos.
No. They have a way of knowing what's going to happen in fashion before it happens. And they like set the tone. So, in a way, excuse me, like streetwear in Japan is like a serious thing, you know? And if you see a lot of like Japanese people walking around New York City, like they like know what they're doing for Fashion Week. Like they go crazy. So I think when I think of Japan, I think of an elevated New York City because they kind of just like know the aspect. Like their aesthetic is like through the roof. They already know what's going to happen in fashion before it happens. And then we get it. And we're like, oh.
I never even thought about that.
But the people that were in Next in Fashion.
Yes.
Do you remember their style and like how they created stuff? And it was like every judge was like, we've never seen that before. They know, like they know what they're doing.
That's Japan. Okay. See, I'm learning as I go. That's why I do these interviews, just to learn and to get amazing guests on, such as yourself. Last fun question. If you were to dress any celebrity and match them with a brand, who would it be, and what would the brand be?
Could it have been done before?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
To make it easier.
This is cliche because these are the faces of Valm. But I follow this brand really, really closely, and I think that they kind of set the tone for being such an exclusive brand because of these people that they dress. So they use a lot of celebrity endorsement just because they kind of can. And who else is gonna pay whatever X amount of dollars for this leather studded like heavy jacket? Like who else is gonna do that but these celebrities? So anyway, Beyonce is pretty much the face of Balmain, and Kim Kardashian, Kanye. Pretty much like the whole Kardashian family is like the faces of Balmain. But I would dress them. I also would dress myself, but you know, I'm not a celebrity, but I would definitely dress myself.
When you are.
But I would dress them because they kind of have that edge on an audience already. And I think whatever Balmain creates, they can put it on them and it'll sell. It's like marketing for dummies. Like it's like boom, like it's gonna sell. So I would definitely dress them. I would pair them together, but I would create something new. And that's why I like that brand so much too, because they do a really good job of creating a different look that fashion has not really tapped into. But yeah, I would say that. And I think, I mean, this is not possible, but I think also Michael Jackson would look good in Balmain. I think because he was such like a, you know, his king of pop, like, and he dressed so like out there.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Balmain is like an out there brand. Gotcha. So dressing him in Balmain, and it probably was done to be honest, but dressing him in that, like,
we'll search it after the podcast if it happened.
Yeah. So, that's what I would do.
Gotcha. Where can people find you, baby?
Oh, so
as if you didn't plug it 15 times.
Right. You can find me on Instagram at Vogue a la mode. And then you can find me on Twitter at _Vogue a la mode. And you can find me on my website at Valm, VALM, magazine.com. And I'm on Pinterest at Vogue a la mode. I'm also on YouTube at Vogue a la mode. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Balmain. Drew,
Balmain.
Drew underscore Balmain.
Gavinci.
Gavinci. Hermes.
Oh gosh. Okay. Hermes.
No, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Life of Drew, LIFEOFDREW, 2 underscores after that. Find me on YouTube as well. Gonna post more clips, definitely more interviews and everything that I do. Thank you, baby, for coming on Interviews with
You're
Drew,
welcome.
3rd episode.
Thanks for
And
having
we'll see
me.
you next time. Peace.
Bye.